Tag, grüezi miteinander, hello. My name is Eve, and on my channel I discuss how to teach your child German when you are not a native German speaker. Today's topic is how to make German learning fun. So I think it's really important to learn more than just the language. I think it's important to learn the country's art, culture, customs, manners, and so on. A great way of doing this, if your child really loves history, you can take them to an airplane museum or a car museum. BMW is a German-made car. You can look into the history of the BMW. You can look at the history of planes and cars used in World War I and World War II. My friend in high school was really into building model airplanes from World War I and World War II. And he brought them in one day and discussed what they were used for, when it was used, and so on. And maybe if you want to teach your child about different airplanes, buy a model airplane or a model car and you can build it together and paint it, and it's a fun project and you learn by doing, and you also learn the history of the car or the airplane that you decide to do. There are also a lot of classes on OutSchool about German history. My son took a flex class of German history and he learned so much. So if your child really loves history, look into doing something like that. For younger children, you can look into the history of the gummy bear. The gummy bear was a German invention, and if you look into the company Haribo, the man that was the originator of this company made the first gummy bear. And maybe while you're watching how gummy bears are made or about the history of Haribo, you can eat some snacks and learn about history in a fun way with food. Another food item you can make is spaghetti ice. Dario Fontanella pressed the ice cream through a Spätzle maker, and then he put strawberry sauce and grated almonds over it. And that's a very well-loved dessert in Germany. So maybe make a yummy treat. And if you don't have a Spätzle maker, you could always, if you are in a Buy Nothing group on Facebook, you can say, hey, does anyone have a Spätzle maker I can borrow for the day and I'll give it right back to you. Another thing you could do is look into Albert Einstein or Johannes Gutenberg. Johannes Gutenberg made the invention, the printing press. You can watch some videos of how the original printing press was done and how they printed papers. There's a lot of videos on that on YouTube, so definitely look into that because it's really, really interesting. There are so many German inventors, so you can do a different invention every single day if you wanted to, and research it and look into it. My oldest son is signed up for an OutSchool class of Learn German Through Art. An art history teacher made this class. It's a flex class, and he's gonna do really fun art crafts while learning about Germany. So that's really interesting, really fun, and he's gonna learn about German artists and art. You can Google how to make a traditional German hat. So if you have construction paper and a few feathers, you can do this project. It doesn't take long, and you can discuss the clothes that Germans wear. You can also go to Teachers Pay Teachers and type in paper dolls German, and you will see a ton of paper dolls. So what I did was I bought this $5 pack and I printed it out. It's like a multicultural clothing paper doll pack. And one of them that was in it was Germany. And my boys colored in the paper doll. And then we used poster putty to put it on the doll and discuss the different clothing and what it's called. So that's a super fun small project to do, and it doesn't cost much. And if you can draw, you can just draw it yourself and make paper dolls yourself. If there's a German restaurant where you live or a German bakery, maybe check that out, or make your own. Sorry for the quality of this picture, but I made Apfelkuchen, And I made Black Forest cake with my kids. You can bake traditional German foods, or the German pretzel. Tons of things you can make with your child. You can learn the history of the item, and then you can figure out what Germans eat. There's so many recipes that are free online you can look into and make German food. If you have an international food store, maybe there's some, German cookies. If you don't feel like baking, just buy a few and have a tasting and figure out like, oh, okay, this is what the kind of cookies that German people like to eat. What I did was I made this pretend snack bar, and my children did this activity with their German tutor. So I put different snacks on there, and they role played, like I would like to order a pretzel, I want to order a Wurst, and so on. And they role played with their German tutor. We also did this with different foods, but you can definitely role play, pretend, you're at a restaurant. You can make a menu, print out German foods, write the names of it, and with their German tutor, or even with yourself, you can say, I would like to order this or that, and that'll be €5, please, euro. And they can do math, they can add up how much everything costs. So you can do so many fun, creative activities, and you can learn German numbers and about German money as you do these activities. Another thing you can do with movement, I always love movement. So my boys the other day did yoga for kids that was in German. So this wonderful YouTuber does these amazing yoga videos in German, and my boys absolutely loved it. Another movement activity you can do, if you look into Kids Bop and then look into Dance Along, you can learn the dances that go along with the music videos of the German Kids Bop. So you can learn the dance, and then you can play the video, and they can dance along to the music in German. So I was talking about looking into German stories. So I've talked about these little books that I bought before. These are all by the brothers Grimm. I actually got this book for myself. Grimm's Fairy Tales in German and English. I would not read this to my kids because they're a bit intense for a child. So I just read these for my personal enjoyment. I ordered an Usborne Grimm's Fairy Tales that I'm going to be reading to my children. The Grimm's original fairy tales, some of them are not sugar-coated like Disney. Disney makes everything a little more whimsical and beautiful and nice. But Grimm stories are a bit more intense. So if these stories are the Grimm's original stories are a little like not fluffy enough for you or your child, read them the books, the Disney version of the books, and then you can talk about the Grimm brothers and the history of these stories. I actually signed my oldest son for an acting class in the summer, and they do the German accent. It's like a theater class on OutSchool, and I just think that makes it really fun. So I know my son's gonna absolutely love that class. Another way to make German learning fun is to set reasonable goals and have reasonable expectations. So maybe have a chart set up, and maybe you can tell your child, once you do these 5 activities in German, you can have a popsicle, or we can have an ice cream party, or we can order a pizza or make a pizza. Like you can say, if you learn the ABCs in German, you get a gold star. If you learn 10 new German vocabulary words, you get a gold star. So just really attainable goals, and make a big deal about it. With my children, when they accomplish something in German and they learn something new, I make a big deal about it. And when I make a big deal about it, it makes them feel good. It makes them excited to learn German. So when my oldest son was playing on the playground, he saw a label on the playground structure and it was in German. And he ran to me, he was like, Mommy, it's in German. It says this. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is so cool. And just like so pumped up about it. So try to reciprocate the excitement of your child when they see something in German, like encourage that, just be excited. You know, German sometimes gets really hard, and some days, you know, my kids get bored. So when I see them getting bored, I'm like, okay, how can I make it fun for them? Because if you make it fun for them, they're going to be more excited to learn German. So that's all I have today. I hope you enjoyed my talk, and I hope you found some of my tips helpful. If you have any more tips on how you make German learning fun for your child, please leave it in the comments below. Dankeschön. Tschüss.